Lydia, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. As we speak, where are you right now in the world today?
I'm in Montreal. I just got home from Calgary yesterday.
How was Calgary and how is Montreal? Because, of course, we're all, we're hopefully on the tail end of what's going on with COVID. What was Calgary like and what's it like living in Montreal?
Calgary is amazing. It's like one of my favorite places. I record there actually. So I was there recording the last two songs for the EP. And so yeah, Calgary was great. COVID situation is a little better now. I feel like everywhere is kind of going back to normal. And it's pretty much the same in Montreal. I'm happy to be home though because I haven't been home in like 4 months. So it's gonna be good.
I know, again, you hear stories, throughout COVID. Montreal had a tough time in the
Yes.
last 2 years. What was that like?
Oh, well, it was really weird. I mean, like, I feel like nobody expected this to happen. So everybody was just doing their best to get through it. I mean, I was locked in my house for most of it. So I didn't really get to see anything. I was writing and working from home. So thankfully that was good for me. But yeah, it was super tough. I feel like for me and my friends and my family were just like very grateful now that it's back to normal and we get to see each other. And what's really nice about it is now we really appreciate and value our time together even more, if that's a thing. Like we're just really grateful to have each other and to be back in the same places. So yeah.
Because of COVID, have you come up with new songs because of that experience? And did that experience change the way you are writing stories about your life and stories about life in general through music?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, COVID changed everything for me because before I didn't really write. So I was writing like alone on the side, but then when the pandemic hit, I couldn't do shows and so I couldn't work on the EP either. So I like found a new way and I was new to country music too, so I didn't really know anyone. So the way that I found to connect with people was over Zoom and co-writing. And ever since I started co-writing, well, now I'm actually pursuing like the writing side just as much as I am the artist side, which has been amazing. Um, but yeah, it has given me a lot of inspiration. I mean, like the only way to meet people during the pandemic was over the internet. So I wrote a few songs about guys I met on the internet, which was great. And just exposing myself just out here.
Hold
Um,
on here. Hold on. This is a whole story now. Meeting guys on the internet during COVID. Oh my God, that sounds like a television series or a movie.
I feel like my life could be a television. It could be.
What was that like? Like you got to give me the lowdown on this one.
Well, okay, beginning of the pandemic, Tinder had this new option where it was like Tinder travel. So like you could like meet people from anywhere you wanted. And I was like, Cowboys, yeehaw, Nashville, let's go. So I put my location as Nashville and I actually met one of my co-writers on Tinder. And I wrote it's so funny. His name is Jake Davey, but he's on in Australia. So both of us had the same idea. We were like, oh, Nashville, like, we're gonna meet like writers and stuff. And I actually wrote his two newest singles that are out right now. So we love Tinder travel, we love boys on the internet, but that's kind of side of the pandemic.
That is so cool. So something good came out of that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I love that. You kind of talked about being a country artist, but when I listen to your music, country, pop,
Yeah.
R&B, like I hear so many things. Do you actually classify yourself as a certain genre?
Not really. I mean, like the base of what I do, I guess, has a bit of country. Like I grew up on country music, so we throw on a banjo and call it a day kind of thing. But I guess the brand is not having a brand. I love songwriting. And I think that every song deserves to go in its own lane if it has to, like not boxing myself in, I feel like has been the biggest thing for me. Because every song on the EP is coherent, but it has its own story, its own sound. So I guess I would say like I'm like kind of country pop. That's usually what people classify me as. But the two newest ones are very, very pop, but we have some countryer ones on the way.
Well, Well, one of the singles that we are going to talk about, it's kind of funny because when I listened to it, I did feel that country pop that you're talking
Yeah.
about. That's why I wasn't sure exactly because, I'm reading one thing, I'm hearing another thing, but now I get it from the horse's mouth. So let's go to even the beginning where that love of music began for you.
I grew up in a super musical family. So my grandparents are both like musicians. So I grew up listening to like Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash and had those like super classic country influences. But my love for music really started in high school. I always like had a connection with lyrics and songwriters. So like I loved Taylor Swift growing up. She is one of the main reasons why I do music now. Um, but yeah, I in high school I was listening to music and I kind of felt like there was a disconnect for me for like a few years where I couldn't find songs to relate to. Like nobody was writing about the stuff I was going through, and I thought that was so weird. And so I didn't really know where to like kind of like search for that. I don't know, that songs give me closure, so like that kind of closure. So
Yeah.
I started writing them myself. I went to the music room at lunch and I taught myself how to play piano by ear in the music room. And I wrote songs and I performed them at the town show, and people like were super excited for me, I guess. And it was just really cool. It was like a new thing for me. And that's really where I started feeling like a human. I felt understood when I wrote. So that's when it started for me.
I went through the exact same experience back in my day in high school where I would go in the music room, play the piano by ear, right? Oh my goodness, this is just. And for folks who don't realize this, we were just talking before we started. Um, you have a Rolling Stone shirt on. I was actually going to wear a Rolling Stones t-shirt myself too. So there's something going on here.
Here.
Yeah, definitely. Um, where does everything switch around? Because I'm hearing about you writing for other artists and stuff like that, and you are a young person too. Where does that all start to come together?
I don't even know. To be honest, it's so weird because everything happened so fast in the last year for me. I'm so new to the industry, and I, at the beginning of the pandemic, I felt like another disconnect once again. I was writing songs, but I was also getting feedback from people who were telling me I wasn't very good at writing, and so that really broke my heart. And I felt like I needed to work on my art if that was the case. If people didn't think I was good enough to write, I was like, well, if I'm not good enough to write, what am I good enough to do, right?
Mhm.
So I started writing with a bunch of people on Zoom, and then I started noticing that people were reaching out to me after hearing some songs I posted to write for their project because they liked my sound, like the melodies I bring in the pop side to the countryside. And I guess that's when it started, when I started noticing that people actually like valued me as a writer, as like um, a writer in the room for their project. I started seeing that side more. Um, so yeah, I guess it was when I started writing over the pandemic that things started like snowballing, I guess, and that I started focusing on writing more. So
So,
I'm very
so I'm
grateful.
just curious: is it that the fact that you couldn't write lyrics, or is it just the fact that you found your audience? There's a big difference.
Yeah, I think uh, I was so insecure, I guess, and I still am. Like I'm the most insecure person I know. But I was so insecure at the time that I believed other people's opinion more than I believed mine. So I think I was very lost, but I also think if it weren't for those critiques, I wouldn't be paving the like I wouldn't be on the road I am today. It really made me grow. It made me see sides to the music industry I didn't know. And it was like, it was like a slap in the face, to be honest. But I kind of feel like I needed that to motivate me and work even harder. And when I started hearing those comments, I was like, okay, well, I'm not good enough. Okay, well, I'm going to book myself 4 writing sessions a day and write 4 songs a day until I write a song that you like and tell me is good enough.
Well, you know what? Look, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm not gonna show you what I've got behind my hand, but this is what I think about the people who told you you couldn't write. So that says it all for me because you have definitely proven yourself. Nashville. You've been to Nashville, correct?
I have been twice in the past few months.
What is the experience like in Nashville? Because I've said this 1,000 times. Three best places to write: Nashville, New York, LA. But Nashville is the king and queen of them all. What is it like to be in that kind of hub?
It just feels like you found your people. I guess like you feel understood. Um, it's an overwhelming feeling. I went for the first time. I couldn't even tell you. I'm so confused with dates. I've been on the road for like the past four
The
months.
pandemic has just thrown everything off.
I was there sometime over the last few months for the first time. Anyways, end of August, I think. And as soon as I went there with my co-writer Aaron Pollock, and so we just showed up there, and we were like after the pandemic, going to a place like that just felt real, and
Yeah.
it felt like we needed it. It felt validating, um, and we were both like, okay, we're moving here. So like we're actually moving. So it felt like home. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just great. The people, I have a lot more friends there than I thought. Like when I got there, I was very overwhelmed. The pandemic like did miracles over Zoom. Like I met so many amazing people who I consider some of my best friends, and so going there and meeting them and getting to spend time with them was just unreal. So yeah, I'm actually moving there next year. So very excited.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well, you've mentioned the word EP. We don't want to know about the title or anything yet, but the EP is really an introduction for us knowing who you are through music. What has been your focus in writing these songs for this EP?
Um, I guess it's a concept EP, so I'm following a concept. I'm writing songs as I go, and I'm picking them from what I'm going through right now. So the main focus for this EP has been being honest and just taking off the filter and actually sharing who I am with people who sometimes, like, it sometimes can be a little intimidating because it's like literally opening up my journal and saying like, hey, like these are my issues, hope you relate. Like it's super weird, but I think that that's been the main focus, staying honest and following through. Like it's just been, I don't know, like every song leads up to the next, which I think is really cool. Like Love Me, if you look in the Love Me cover art, you'll see a hint to Date a Friend. And then if you look in the Date a Friend cover art, you'll see a hint to the next single. So it's just been like my life, basically, just writing what I'm going through and being honest with that.
Then let's go with Date a Friend. What is that one about? Like the title doesn't say it all.
Yeah. Date a Friend. I mean, Date a Friend, I wrote with two of my really close collaborators, Robin Ottolini and Chris Yurchuk. And at the time that I brought Date a Friend in the Zoom for the write, it was supposed to be a breakup song because my best friend and I had just broken up. And I was really overwhelmed and scared that I would lose my best friend. I wasn't like, I guess I wasn't as sad about the breakup as I thought. I was just like scared that I wouldn't get that friendship back. So I regretted it. And Robin and Chris are two of my best friends and knew the whole story. And um, they, as soon as I brought the idea and I was like, don't date a friend, don't do it. It's not worth it. Like, look at me now, I'm crying. And they were like, ah. And so when I said that, Robin called me out and she was like, well, Lydia, like it was worth it because like it was one of the most special things, you've been through kind of thing. And then we started talking it through and talking the relationship through. And I was like, yeah, actually, like it was actually really special, and I would probably not like be as close to him as I am today if it weren't for that. So Date a Friend is practically like pretty much a laundry list of reasons why I think you should date a friend, because it's the easiest thing ever. Yeah, that's kind of the story behind it.
I love that. I'm just curious, the other person, what did they think of the song?
um He liked it. At first, it's weird having a song written about you, right? Like, it's
Yes.
just like if somebody showed me a song they wrote about me, well, they have, but like I was just like, yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, we're really close today, and we can talk about these things openly, and we're just both really grateful that we made it through that little rough patch, and that we get to be even closer now.
I love that. And you know what? Oh my God, scenarios. I've been through the same thing myself too, so I dig what you're saying. The only no, we stayed friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to think about that for a second.
As
Um
like a bitter ending, I think that's friends, right? Like as long as both are on good terms and can say hi when they walk out the door, like if they see each other out, that's 10 out of 10 winning for me.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with you. What's going on with performances for you though as we go into 2022?
Um, right now, I almost like haven't been really thinking about performing because I don't have material to perform. I'm a big like EP gal and songs, so I guess I haven't had the material. But once the EP is out, I'm definitely gonna start doing more shows. I actually did my first writers round in Calgary
Oh,
2 weeks
cool.
ago, which was amazing, and yeah, maybe a few more writers rounds to be announced over the next few months. But apart from that, I'm just focusing on the writing and the recording so I have the right material to perform when it's time to get back to
As
that.
we speak, of course, we're heading into the holiday season. What are your plans?
Plans for the holidays is staying home and seeing my family. I've been so overwhelmed the past few months. There's a lot of good things going on, but I miss my family and I miss my hometown. So uh, just hanging out with them and seeing some friends and just chilling before the big move to Nashville and the new year.
Fantastic. And I always have to ask this: do you celebrate Christmas? Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What was your favorite Christmas gift growing up?
Ooh, ah, I was a big Barbie gal. I would have to say when I got that Barbie dream house,
Oh,
I was winning. But yeah, I loved those things. I was such a girly girl, so like anything Barbie, like Polly Pocket, all of those things, I was so excited.
fantastic. I'm just curious. Do you still have them, or did you have to,
I still
eventually?
have a few of the Barbies just because I'm like a simp and I can't get rid of things.
Mhm.
Um, but yes, I do have a few. Um, yeah.
Just curious, what happened to the dream house? Do you know?
I don't know what happened to the dream house. I'm actually curious, and I might have to ask my mother. Maybe she
It's
got rid of
it's always funny because when you go, you start thinking, wait a minute, what the hell happened to that?
it.
It
Yeah,
was
like
like 1 minute was there and it's gone.
when was the decision time that I was too old for a dream house? Because to be honest, if I still had it, I might still, I don't know.
Yeah, and it could have been worth a hell of a lot of money these days too. So,
Help me
gosh,
see dream house to pay for my EP. Love that.
yeah, exactly. So as we're going into 2022, though, a lot of people have expectations. They did win 2019, going into 2020. They were like, oh, I hated 2019. Let's get to 2020. Same thing with 2021. We're going into 2022. What personal advice can you give for folks who have that big anticipation for 2022? But, just because it's a new year, in my opinion, doesn't mean it's completely a new life.
No, I would say give yourself some grace. The past like few years have been really weird, and people are still figuring out. It's a new start every year. I feel like people put a lot of pressure on themselves because we were all on pause for 2 years. So I would just say don't compare yourself to everybody else and where other people are at. We're all at the same place, all trying to get our shit together and yeah, just be happy and be grateful to be alive. I don't know. It's just weird. I feel like it's becoming very competitive and people are very down on themselves because it's not going as fast as they want it to. Um, so I think just take your time and be patient and everything's gonna figure itself out.
Love it. Lydia, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on the new single. Looking forward to talking to you again about the EP when it comes out. And have a blast in Nashville. One of these days, I'm going to head down there. If I do and you're there, I would love to catch up and talk in person.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me.